from a Liverpool point of view, I mean, there's pluses and minuses to this. There's advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantage is that, you know, now it allows Arsenal and Manchester City to have an opportunity to play
and
their
Chelsea.
games.
Not forgetting Chelsea.
And Chelsea, as you said on Thursday. It allows them all to play a game and actually creep a little bit closer to Liverpool. I'm assuming all those teams win. So it creates that. But the advantage, you could argue, is that, you know, McAllister was due to miss this game with a suspension. He'll now miss Girona and Fulham. Alisson, the goalkeeper, has been injured. So maybe he comes back in the rearranged fixture, as does Jota. You know, so there's a few advantages on that side. Liverpool,
Konate could be back for it.
Konate could be now back for it. And when we find out the date of this rearranged fixture, it will obviously give us a bit more clarity over who's going to be available for it. But it's gutting. But of course, you have to look at the safety.
Is this an advantage or a disadvantage for Liverpool? Like AGT said, some of the advantages is McAllister will be back because he would have been suspended for this game. Very important player. Konate could be back depending on when the game's played. But I'm looking at, I can't see how this game gets played before the end of January. Surely that gives enough time for Konate, Alisson, players like that to come back. But is it an advantage? I mean, like, got some comments coming in here. Super chat here from Sasito, who says, good for Liverpool, some rest. And we'll have the players back from injury. Playing Everton in this weather would have been very, very tricky. That is true. Everton, good on set pieces, direct. I think Sean Dyche would have been rubbing his hands and saying, yeah, swirling wind.
Literally.
You know what I mean? Anything that gives a little edge to Everton that suits their game and doesn't suit Liverpool's game may have helped. So that could be an advantage. Sadiq, though, says, big up to you guys. A game getting cancelled when you're in form is not a good thing. I remember the season 22-23 October when the Queen died and Arsenal versus City was cancelled. That's very true. It can knock your momentum as well. You know what I mean? You're in form, you're playing well. Game gets cancelled. Who knows that, you know, you may hit a little bit of off form by the time you come to play Everton. Everton might be playing well by that time. We don't know. You know what I mean? That's the other thing. These are, you know, Liverpool are on form at the moment. I know they had dropped a couple of points the other day, but in general, they've been on form. Could that form change? Lee Murphy says more time for the lads to rest, and Liverpool will play while other teams play in the Champions League playoffs. Don't Liverpool still win the Premier League? That is another good shout from Lee Murphy. That's true. Liverpool, as it stands, they're more or less qualified. Did you say to me the other day they've qualified already?
I think if we beat Girona on Tuesday, we're the first team to basically not have to do anything else to qualify.
No playoffs, right? Which then,
so
like you said,
game.
Yeah, but then that would only really be a thing if, you know, that's not really going to be a thing, I don't think, because you're playing Everton, who will still be rested for the game. Yeah. I mean, as an Arsenal fan, one of those teams that obviously that are trying to, you know, chase down Liverpool, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, maybe it could be a bit of an advantage because Arsenal now know, and Chelsea know, and Manchester City know tomorrow now, win your game and you've closed in on Liverpool. They've got that game in hand, but everybody knows that when you're being chased, sometimes you just want them points on the board. When you got them points on the board and you're clear, I feel that if those teams win their games tomorrow, and I'm talking about my team now, Arsenal, if we say Arsenal won our game, we are now 4 points behind Liverpool, right? Now, listen, they got the game in hand. But psychologically, it's a bit of added pressure for Liverpool because then they now know, let's just say, for instance, Liverpool were to then drop points in another game, could be like a point behind. And then all of a sudden, Liverpool now under extreme pressure to win that game against Everton. But then it could work the other way. You know what I mean? Teams could lose and then Liverpool win that game. We've got a massive advantage. So, but I don't know. That's how I look on it. I look on it and I think to myself, it's a little bit of an advantage to the chasing pack because they know that if they win that game, it's a little bit of added pressure for Liverpool. How do you feel about that, AGT?
Yeah, it is. in that way, it is a disadvantage to Liverpool because I'd rather have played the game and have the game in hand, because then that game becomes even more pressurized than if you did play it on time. So, yeah, it's a good opportunity now for Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City to close that gap to maybe 4 points. And then if you're 4 points away, then you can say, well, there's not really a massive gap at all. So, do you know what? I can't actually make my mind up yet if this is a good or bad thing for Liverpool. If I'm really honest with you, Robbie, if I'm really, really truthful with you, right? I did not fancy that Dyche ball in the wind, early kickoff, after a draw away against Newcastle. I didn't really fancy it. With a big number of injuries as well, I didn't really fancy it.
Don't fancy a cold, breezy day up on Merseyside, wind blowing.
I mean, I get that most days, to be honest. So I'm happy to have a day without that.
Why do you go to Liverpool then? You know, it's always raining up there.
No, it's always raining in Manchester, not Liverpool. So yeah, there's that. Arsenal, if they win tomorrow, will get a big boost now because Liverpool haven't played. But what can we do? It's Mother Nature, right? It's an act of God, as people say. So there's nothing we can physically do about it. But at the same time, would I have rejoiced in winning today? Of course I would have. But with the way we defended and obviously the way that Everton played the other night as well, there's a part of me that goes, actually, I'm quite happy we're not playing today because then we can get Alisson, Jota, Konate, and all the rest of them back. So,
all right. Well, what about this one?
We'll have to see.
Throwing this one in there as well. Again, all those teams around you win. Arsenal win, Arsenal win, Chelsea win, City win. Then you've got to play that game against Everton midweek now.
Yeah.
Night game. You know what I mean? Like night game under the lights. Goodison is popping. You know what I mean? Maybe they've had a few good wins and then you got to go there at night. I don't know, man. I remember it was a couple of seasons ago. We went there at night, right? Remember that? It's a Monday night, man. Horrible weather in that game as well. And they turned us over. And that place, I'll tell you, Goodison's one of those grounds, right, that you have to silence the crowd.
Yeah.
If they get that place
before
popping
they start
in there,
booing, yeah.
I'm telling you, right, that place, it goes either way, don't it?
Yeah.
Like if you silence them, you can have a great day there. But it is one of those grounds, old school grounds. Fans are really close to the pitch. Evertonians are really passionate fans, great fans, I think. You know, I mean, AGT may not agree with me because of the rivalry.
No, they are good fans,
but they're great fans.
They're not booing, yeah.
If they get their head of steam up, and we all know that night games are games when, you know, if the home team, I almost feel like that's the atmosphere is going to be better on a night game than it would have been on a 12:30 kickoff with horrible weather.